street-level policing for 3 decades. And last month, he had to quit a job he loved and that he was proud to do. And we've got Roland here today. Welcome.
Wow, what a privilege. What an absolute privilege. You know, as I look across, I see a sea of faces. And I've walked through the crowd earlier and just looking at people and looking at some of my colleagues around the outside, the ring. Before I get started, let me just say that on speaking to both our QPOL and New South Wales officers here today, I'm immensely grateful for their attitude. They have an awesome attitude to hold a space for you guys here today. We can ask no more of our police than to be back in their rightful place as guardians of the peace. They did not join to become tools of oppression. So as I looked around and I saw this sea of faces, some of them, many of joy, but I saw faces, some of worry, some of fear, concern, anxiety. And it's obvious why that is. But when I don't look at individual faces, I don't see that sea. I see an ocean of hope. Aussies are extraordinary people when we come together for a reason, and that reason is basic human rights, freedom of choice, liberty. And as I've asked already in this brief time since I've left the department, I've asked, what is the line in the sand where you say, no further? That line must be our children. That line should have been bodily autonomy. They've crossed the line that they should not have crossed. And now that line must be our children. What an awesome talk we had from Mark. And he's gone through all the medical side of things. And I know that you people here don't need me to go over what you're already researching. But this message will go further. It'll go out and it'll go around the globe. And for those people who are still sitting on the fence and haven't worked out where the truth lies, one thing that they must take away from what was said previously and what all of you know is the mainstream media. Turn that garbage off! We know the mainstream media is fear. It is lies and deception. They feed the narrative. And if anything comes across that they don't like, it does not make the news. Now, we've seen many images, as have I, of police engaged in conduct that is concerning. In my 31 years, I've seen plenty of conflict. And I can tell you that even when we see stuff on video, on film, you never see the whole story. Okay, but the mainstream media will feed you only the portions that will support their narrative. And my message is twofold today. One, it is to the public here. Do not give up on your police. They are part of our community. Where criticism is due, we will level it at them. We do not want police who pick on the weak or the vulnerable. I joined to draw a line in the sand when I was a 19-year-old kid. I knew nothing. I was wet behind the ears. I walked into houses with domestic violence, people who have been domesticating for 15 years in marriage. And I walked in as a 19-year-old kid with no idea. But even back then, I decided to draw a line in the sand. I could not stand people being bullied, picked on, robbed. Our police can make a choice. They have a position now that I never had in 31 years. Now is a pivotal moment for them to decide, will they be tools of oppression or will they be the guardians of peace? Alex Cooney from Cops to COVID Truth, who spearheaded the release of information. Alex led the way. He's going to come and talk soon. But he has told my colleagues, wherever you are, and I'm looking around, and this message is to you, my blue family, and it won't just be here at Tweed. It'll be every corner of this nation. Once a police officer, always a police officer. And this will go wider than Australia. And I speak to the police family. You have discretion. You have the right to choose what force you apply. In New South Wales, you're trained in tactical disengagement. That means when you engage someone, you do not have to win at every cost. Sometimes that cost is too great. You have the responsibility to facilitate a space for peaceful members of your community to come together. And that's what you've done today. And I applaud that. But as we look out across New South Wales and every other state, we are still going to see enforcement being taken that is going to concern us. And so I say to every officer listening, you only need follow lawful directions. Look at your code of conduct and ethics. Read your statement of values. It's all set out. You are to treat people with fairness, respect and dignity. The legislation requires you to uphold rights and freedoms. The people making these protests are protesting for your freedoms as well. I know where you are if you are a police officer. I know because I am you and you are me. But I am also everyone in this community. Because beyond the badge and beyond the uniform, we are Australians. And so I invite my colleagues nationwide and across this whole earth, I invite you to come back to community. Step down from violent confrontation. If we see anyone out there stirring trouble, our police should come in and put them down quickly. That's your job. But you are not here to suppress people who are calling for their basic human rights, put food on the table, to protect their children, and to remain viable members of this community. And finally, whether you subscribe to an inner self or a higher self or spirit or source, or like me, you follow an almighty God. Now is a time for you to improve your spiritual walk, as I have. Because what we are battling here is larger than government. It is across this great realm of earth. And this is a battle that we forge and that I forge in faith. I cannot handle this battle alone, but I will impact the areas that I can. And for the rest, I lay that in faith at the foot of Almighty God. And I encourage you all to improve your spiritual walk. just want to make sure that if you catch us later on, we're walking around, Hoodie, Alex, any of the others, you want to have a chat, grab a photo, whatever, we are here for you and you are here for us.